What's up, guys? It's JQ. If you're new here, my channel is about helping men author a life that you are truly excited about. So if you want to know more about that, stick around till the end. Okay, in this video, what I'm going to show is another one of these female influencer coaches for women, and she's talking about why she's single, and she thinks she makes this great point about proving herself correct about why it's not her fault. But as you're going to see, she actually proves herself wrong, but she doesn't even realize that in the video. Let's take a look at what she has to say, and then I'll give you some insight. This is going to really help you understand the psychology of women and what you need to do as a man in order to navigate this environment. Let's check it out.
We collectively agree how annoying comments like, "How are you single? You're so attractive" are. Because I had this recently from a guy who I kind of know, he's not a stranger. And I obviously explained that being single has nothing to do with how attractive someone is or isn't.
Let me pause it right there. I partially agree with what she's saying here. Being attractive doesn't necessarily have to affect whether you're single or not. There is somebody for most people at most levels of attractiveness. The thing is that when you are less attractive, you are going to have a lot less options when it comes to dating, and you're not going to be as excited about those options. So being more attractive is going to give you a lot more options. This is especially important for men because of the way that women view attractiveness for men, and I'll get into that in a little bit more detail here in a second.
And I asked him, "Do you have any single friends?" He says he has quite a few. Amazing. What are they like? Are any of them suitable for me? His first question was, "How high are your standards?" My standards are really high. I'm not settling for just anybody. His response, "None of them will be suitable for you then." And that is why
All right, I love this response from this guy that he comes back to her. So she asks if he has any single friends. Yeah, of course I do. Well, she says, "Can you hook me up?" And he says, "Well, hang on a second. How high are your standards?" Well, let's check out this last statement by her.
answered his own question about why I'm single. "It's nothing to do with me, sir, and everything to do with the single men out there."
So I find this conclusion that she drew from the interaction just fascinating, because what this guy was telling her is he's actually looking out for his friends. So he asked her, "Well, how high are your standards? Because if they're really high, I don't want to introduce you to my guy friends because they're not going to want to deal with that." And she thinks what he's saying is that, "Oh, my friends they're just not going to be good enough for you. And so, you're better off not meeting them." So it goes to show just how delusional women like this are. She thinks that none of these men will live up to her standards, and so she's just better than them. And this is a really toxic mindset, and unfortunately it's super pervasive in our culture. Why is it really pervasive? Because there's girls like this girl. Look at her profile. She's a transformational mindset coach, whatever that is, but basically she's a coach for women. She helps women who are single basically remain single. If you scroll down her feed, we can see she's 38 years old, she's single, she's picky, she's at home. Why could that be? Well, it's because she has an overinflated view of herself relative to what her options are. Let's take a look at one of her other videos real quick. All right, a couple things that I want to point out. So she's got tattoos on her hands and actually on her ear lobe and all the way up her arm. This is typically something that most men find unattractive, at least when they're looking at a girl and considering her to be her wife. This is a good video compared to some of our others because we can see what she looks like just kind of like out of the shower without having her hair and makeup done up. Okay, and I'm not trying to make fun of this girl, but we can see that she is, I would say that this girl is average at best attractiveness, right? She's average at best attractiveness, so let's call it she's a 5'6", something like that. But she's expecting that some super attractive man is going to come along and want to pick her. So if she's an average girl, then she's going to be a good fit for average man. An average man in the United States makes a little bit less than $50,000, is 5'9", and is 200 pounds, which is a dad bod, i.e. kind of chunky for a man who is 5'9". That's the type of man that is going to be an appropriate match for someone like her. That's a 5'6" or so on the attractiveness scale. This is just how it works. But she believes that she deserves a much more attractive, much more successful guy. And there are a lot of these women out here on Instagram and TikTok who are repeating this message: "Girl, you deserve more. You should have a 6'4" stud that makes $300,000. You deserve that. You deserve that. You deserve that." And the reason that this message is seductive to women is because who wouldn't want to believe, right? It's more convenient for them to believe that they can just sit back and demand and expect that they're going to receive this mythical, like super amazing guy who meets all these very high list of standards and qualifications that they have for him. That's a lot easier than actually doing the work that would be needed in order to attract that kind of man. Okay, men, when they reach this level of life, have a lot of options with women. And so they don't want to deal with, first of all, they want a girl that's very attractive, typically much more attractive than this girl. Secondly, they want her to have a good attitude and not be super difficult and be demanding things of him all the time. It's just that simple. So if this girl was serious about it, okay, what she could do is she could really work on her body a lot to improve her attractiveness to the degree that she can. And she could really work on her attitude so that she was a lot more pleasing and fun and easy to be with. If she did that, then she'd have more access to the type of man that she might like to be with. Maybe not exactly the types. She's still not going to have access to the top caliber of man. Let's be honest. She's just not that. She's not attractive enough to command that in the marketplace. But she could have better options than what she does currently, but she's not willing to do that. Instead, she's just going to make demands. Okay, so there's two reasons I bring this up. Number one, it's important that you're just aware that this exists. And when you encounter women when you're out and about and they come off as sort of challenging and demanding right off the bat, you may be tempted to want to prove yourself. I think this is a natural male urge. When you encounter some kind of challenge, you want to prove yourself, especially to women. And if you thought this girl was kind of cute, you may want to do that. But that's not a good idea, because when you do that, you set yourself up to get into situations or even relationships with women like this who are very difficult to be with. And I'm telling you, these type of women can absolutely ruin your life because they are never satisfied. And you don't want that. You're never going to get ahead if you're with somebody that's never satisfied. The other thing to take away is that as a guy, you do want to do everything you can to be as attractive, to be as desirable as you possibly can, because this will make your life way easier with women, way easier. Most of you watching this channel, if you've never taken these steps to really work on your fitness, to work on your purpose, to work on your income so that you're in, like, let's say the top 10% of men, when you reach that point, you will be shocked to see how women respond to that when all of a sudden all of the women want to be with you. It's really something that you can only really, that's hard to imagine until you experience it for yourself. So you want to do as much as you can to get as rich, strong, and attractive as possible so that your dating life is much easier and you have much better options that you're going to be more excited about. So most of you watching this video are not going to do anything about it. You might watch this and click off. You might do nothing. At least subscribe to the channel. And if you want to take steps to actually become the most attractive, most interesting, best version of yourself, then go ahead and book a session with me. We've got an online group of men who are all working together as a community to develop ourselves so that we can be the best version for us. And it just so happens that you'll have the best looking and easiest and most pleasing women in your life as well. I hope that helps, and I'll see you in the next video.